Welcome back to the Chicago area. We are here for the 2022 Word Cup. Geoff Thevenot coming live, and Evans Clinchy has returned next to me in studio, but we also have another guest commentator with us this round. Coming again from the other side of the world, we have Jeremy Khoo. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Excited for coverage of this event, and I'm happy to be a part of it as well.
All right. So we're getting started. Dave is on a 1-1 record, and Geoff is 2-0. First couple of racks here. Dave has got a Hido plus an extra I and S, and Geoff is going towards Motown so far. Let's see what else he's got. Oh, that's definitely not Motown. That's very ugly. There we go. He's going for a Hidos right away to get nice points.
How many? My Quackle is crashing, so I got to count points by hand. Is it 42?
44.
44.
44.
Okay. I'll try and get my Quackle back up and running in a second, but my
So-
laptop is having a hard time.
Grabbing the pen. We're going to write down racks until he gets Quackle up again.
Thanks.
That was a pretty fast Ejidos from Dave, but it does look like the best play. The interesting aspect of it is that Dave was very sure that it was the best play, only spending a little more than 40 seconds there. Geoff has a pretty bad rack on the other hand. He's probably going to play QI, I would assume.
All right, just finished writing down to catch up. Sorry, guys. Just coming back to the chat here. Yeah, QI options definitely are the ones that immediately would pop out as one potential way to deal with this. I mean, like, you are offering back some things with the triple letter score, but nothing to be worried about. There's no massive point bombs to be concerned with after playing QI there. So yeah, seems reasonable enough. 2, 3, 25.
So Jido's plus an I, and then what was the rack? QI keeping GMOTW?
Yeah, dumped.
All right, we back. All right, so QI
All right.
for a score of 44 to 25. Got it.
Excellent. All right, Quackle's back up and running. No more writing down for me.
Laptop was very sad for a second.
Sad.
All right, so what's Dave got here?
Head OIE.
Kind of garbage. Okay.
Lewis suggests Hoyd or Jihadi. Wabin is weighing in saying the same. Hoyd is coming down. Yeah, that's definitely a fair
I
number.
think Hoyt looks a little bit better. I mean, obviously a very close place, but
Yep. I mean, it's the
it's
best.
just a
scoring-
little more defensive, and the leave is very slightly better. Also, it probably scores a little bit more. I haven't counted.
Yeah, Hoyt is 36 and Jihadi's 34, so it's just a little bit more points, and yeah, very solid play.
It's just slightly better in every respect.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, those make for the best kind of decisions, right? When you have two candidate players, be like, well, this one is actually better in all respects, so I don't need to think about it.
Yeah, the harder decisions are like, this one's a little better points, this one's a little better leave, which do I prefer? Yeah, this one was clearer than that. So an early deficit for Geoff Thevenot, down 80 to 25 right out of the gate. What can he do here?
Lewis says
Well,
he.
I mean,
nice. Go ahead, sorry.
he's got a number of plays that put the X under Jidos. That's like the automatic thing you're looking at. It's oh, I didn't mean that. I meant with the X under the E of a Jidos.
Yeah,
Which is slightly more volatile, which is something that's probably desirable at this scoreline.
Looks like Jeff's deciding to go with walks, going for less of the volatility. So he's played walks underneath the Vejidos.
Yeah, so Moxa would have been 47 underneath Ejidos because it would have made JA, but a little bit of a point sacrifice, but it is a better leave. Interesting trade-off.
Chea asks, do none of you ever sleep? I'm assuming that is in reference to Weibin and Jeremy.
Well, Chia's awake as well, so
Exactly.
I don't see
I was gonna say. He's also awake. For those of you who don't know, local time in Singapore, I believe, is around 1 a.m.
Yep.
Yep, it's just before 1 a.m. Excellent time to be awake, watching Scrabble, obviously.
Very good. We're happy to have you here.
I believe you volunteered to do some games after lunch, right? So you'll still be awake at 4 or 5 a.m.?
I might be, yeah.
I was kidding, but I mean, you're welcome to join if you like.
I mean, it is the weekend, so.
Not to be confused with the Wiegand, who is currently playing Scrabble. I can pun too, Jesse.
Nice. Sonic says, I think there's enough Singaporeans online now to play our own mini blitz tournament between rounds. That's valid. That's kind of cool. Nice side event. Sup to ND. Okay. I will also say sup to ND.
So a few bingo options here for Dave. The best play is not easy to spot. It's Padella above Hoyd with 4 overlaps. That's an 80-point play.
Nice.
Making PO and AI and etc. Not an easy word, Padella. Appealed is a more common word. That's available through the E in Agitos. And that's 76. So a few options here. Dave is one of the absolute best in the world at finding bingos. I would probably put him second only to Nigel in that category. So if there's anybody you can trust to find things like Padella, it's him. But even for him, it's not easy.
Nuff Drew says, what dictionary are they playing with? This is the Collins Dictionary, so the International Standard English Scrabble Dictionary for tournament play. Dave is opting for palaced or palated. I'm not sure which one.
Oh yeah, we'll need to get a blank check from our producers. Yeah, palaced and paladed are both good. So
Dave's play is not the highest scoring, but it does have its own merits. Maybe he deliberately is playing in a more defensive way.
yeah, it's possible. I mean, Padella looks pretty strong in every respect. Like, I don't think it's defensively a bad option either. But
So for those of you who are OCD with tile placement, do you see what I am seeing on the board right now?
oh, the blank is sideways.
Yes.
Oh, sad. I believe under Wesper rules that can be challenged off the board if the blank is sideways. I'm just kidding.
I want to reach onto the board through the screen and turn that right now.
I know,
It's just
right?
like, I can't. Like, if it were me sitting at the board, I'd be turning that tile, even though it's not my play. Which, for those of you who don't know the rules etiquette, you could technically turn the tile on your own time, but certainly not on theirs.
I'm probably going to assume it's palaced because that's more defensive. The theme of the play is defense. If it is palatted, there are some interesting plays here for Geoff underneath.
We will see if the team in the room will be able to verify on the blank slip possibly what that blank is and pass it on to us. Then we can definitely discuss candidate plays at that point in time. I'm going to assume it's a C because of the nature of how Dave plays, but we'll just wait for official confirmation.
Also, Andrew, if you want to just reach in and turn that blank sideways, nobody's going to fight you on it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I'm just saying.
Can you turn tiles the wrong way on your opponent's turn?
No.
Not the wrong way. You can fix them to have them turned correctly on your own time, but no, turning them the wrong way, that would be a big etiquette no-no.
Okay, the blank is a C. We've confirmed. Thanks to our producers for that. So Palace is on the board, and Geoff has some options here. The best play appears to be today, underlapping Palace with PO and AD and etc. That's a 37-pointer. Nothing else is going to score that much. Jolty is pretty cool through the J and the L. Pretty much every play is in that corner of the board. Just plays overlapping Palace and plays through Palace like Jolty. But yeah, Jolty.
I wouldn't really be happy with today in Geoff's position because it seems pretty easy for Dave to just underlap the play and leave the board relatively tight again.
It's true.
Well, Jolty has come down. We officially have a vertical play. As was pointed out, the other plays were all horizontal prior to this. at least primarily horizontal. Although one could argue QI was technically both. It could have been counted as horizontal or vertical. This isn't an actual official vertical play. Dave, with that D down one more, would have Oalade, or I don't even know how you pronounce that, but sadly, it does not come down in this case.
I think it's Iliad.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I never would have guessed that.
Iliad to me is spelled very differently. If I'm thinking like Homer.
Because if you look it up, it's well, I guess the pronunciation might be different, but it means the same as Iliad, which is a bunch of alternate spellings.
Oh my gosh. You're
So
right.
in this
Look at
case,
that.
it's an amorous glance. So I would say Iliad in this case because it pertains to sight as opposed to Iliad like the books.
By the way, you're always thinking of Homer, but usually it's Simpson.
Yes. My name is Mr. Plow. That's right. My name is Mr. Plow.
SMRT, you are so smart. All right, so Dave is ahead by roughly a bingo size score, 155 to 91. He's not, desperate to make anything happen here, but he's going to pretty much waste a turn scoring very little. His best option is to score like 9 in the case of OE next to Jolty, or like 12 for a play like 8 ATE through the T in Jolty. Nothing is very strong here. Perhaps his highest scoring option is AIA for 15 points on the right side of Jolty there.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
I know, right? Let's not get crazy, but he could make a 15-point play. So, not easy. If you're Dave here, what you want to think about is how can you best prepare yourself to bingo next turn?
Yeah, I mean, like in that case, something that's not as high scoring. I mean, like Aloe and Soda would be giving yourself more potential lanes. Or Aloe off the Y, and Jolty is really aggressively opening up the board. But
Yeah.
Soda and Aloe, that's a potential way to give yourself another place to smack stuff down.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
I mean, I don't think he needs to be too concerned about opening the board because although it's somewhat restricted, there are still very good lanes for sevens. And with the flexibility of the blank, he should be able to draw a 7 with any reasonable draw. Of course, he could play 2 vowels and draw 2 more vowels, but
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of that for that reason. Although it would mean, like on paper, something like OE would be great to keep a nice balanced rack that Quackle would love. But the the human factor of what if I draw this? Yeah. But I could see OE being a fairly high simming play if that were be. I don't know. I haven't looked at Quackle yet on the side, but I'm assuming that one's probably high up there, along with any 3 vowel 4.
Yeah, so a lot of Quackle's favorites here are kind of the straightforward ways to fish by playing 2 vowels. It very slightly likes just OE and OY for 9 points the best. And then 8 through the T in Jolty is also pretty high up there. But yeah, there's really no, superstar play here. You just got to slog through some vowels and hope for the best. We see Geoff
he
has
goes for AIA.
Oh, he does go for AIA. Okay.
Yeah, and Geoff has the opposite problem with his rack, I guess. That
Yeah.
Dave, is there some reasonable way?
Well, I'm assuming Bomb or something like that on top of Hoyd.
I'm trying to find a 6-letter word ending in I, but I don't think there is one.
No, I don't think so. Oh, so one nice option here is to play off the B and the M with Bima through the disconnected EA there. That's 21 points and keeps a reasonable leave.
Lewis concurs in the chat as well, but saying he's thinking out loud, might like to leave the E open, and that's valid.
Yeah. Yeah, Balm is a solid option as well. Balm on the top right above Hoyd.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about Bima. I did see it, but it concerns me that it's kind of restrictive. At this scoreline, Geoff should be thinking about getting 2 bingos probably to catch back up, and Bima kind of manages the board poorly because it closes off the top left.
Yeah, that's a good point. One option that Quackle's throwing out there is playing Mela in the same spot, the M and the L. It's 8 points less, but it does open up more bingos because of the M is easier to parallel. That might be a little bit too much to give up, though. 8 points is a lot.
It looks like he's considering Ramble to the E.
Ramble does blow the board wide open if you do that.
Yeah, Ramble and Marble are both reasonable choices as well. I do think Geoff is a player who kind of prefers longer words to shorter ones if he's given relatively equal options. So a play like Ramble or Marble from him would be unsurprising, I think, and it's a good play. I mean, it's one of your more reasonable options here.
So it looks like Ramble is coming down on the E in Ejidos.
Yeah, I think I like this choice. It's not going to work out well in practice, but I think I like this choice. Not knowing that, not knowing Dave's rack.
Yeah, so plenty of options now for Dave to get a bingo down.
All of the bingos.
Yes, Dr. Bing is going to get a bing.
Cesar has noticed I am intentionally using the correct Spanish pronunciation for ejido every time it comes up.
Nice.
I don't expect you all to know. You're not Spanish speakers.
I could have guessed that, but I was just being lazy. Didn't think about it.
Drumbledore is not a word. Nice.
What does Ramble take? Dramble is no good,
Well,
is it?
Bramble.
Oh,
Definitely.
Bramble, there you go.
One of my favorite
Only a B,
levels.
okay.
Oh, I know Cesar is going to know this and appreciate this. One of my all-time favorite levels and favorite soundtracks from a Nintendo game is Bramble Scramble from Donkey Kong Country 2. That immediately came to my mind when I thought of Bramble.
So a lot of choices here for Dave. The A in Ramble is now open, so Real Tone and Aluron are interesting choices. I kind of like Aluron. It keeps the board, closed for anything too scary. Like Real Tone is going to open a triple. If you play Relleno,
Hey,
that would
there we
also open
go.
a triple. So you don't want to do that either if you can avoid it. Aluron looks to be the best bingo that scores decently well, 66 points, and doesn't open any triples. I could go for some Chile Relleno right about now. So definitely want to take a think here if you're Dave and make sure you get this one right. But yeah, he is going to go with Aluron, and I like it. Dave and Geoff are two of the faster players we've seen so far on table one. Didn't have quite this level of speed in the first two rounds.
Yeah, we're blitzing on through here. We might be able to feature one of those Singaporean blitz games at this rate before we get the next round.
All right, so the updated score once my laggy internet kicks in is, yeah, there we go. 236-113 is the advantage for Dave Wiegand now. Oh, now I see why the chat was talking about viduously. Okay.
Yes. Except, hold.
Yeah, except it's not a word. Details.
What was a blank played as I'm watching with the sound off? I was about to answer that with sound. Duh. Someone can type that.
So not a great rack here for Geoff. I guess one option would be Divo, D-I-V-O, into the O up top in Aluron. Keeping a glorious leave of O-S-U-Y. I don't know. This is pretty rough. Not a lot of great choices here. Yes.
There's actually a lot of ease in the pool. I'm just trying to think. No, Jeff's too far behind for that. Never mind.
You thinking about Div?
Well, let's try to think of something that would involve shorter plays with a few of the clunkier tiles, like Yay or Yad and something playing down. But
yeah, so one option is you can play Div, making Yad, and setting up, some sort of divs or divvy or dive hook for yourself. But I think that's too risky because just Dave is going to have one of those letters just too often.
And all the many spellings of pilaf. There's just so many. It's redonk.
So I mean, this is obviously not a good situation for Geoff.
Yeah.
But I feel like there are like a number of schools of thought about how to play from like a large deficit. One is that you should just basically fish every turn and like hope to like draw multiple big goals in a row.
Yeah, I mean, that can backfire. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, and so if you're going to do that, I think you would play something like Divi and Yet.
You could go even shorter, because if you're going to be playing fishy and play one tile, you could play a Y and hope for an E for devious if you're going to play super short. But I'm not sure if I'm a fan of super short in this situation. But yes, that is one school of thought.
That might be worth considering if there was like a spot for the Y to score like, 25 or something. But playing the Y, you're not going to score anything, basically.
And also, if devious were a better bingo, like the only spot for devious is underneath Hoyd, right? And that's not going to triple and score very little. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Devo is pretty solid as far as, getting points, not playing too many letters. Because, I think regardless, when you're behind, you obviously don't want to rapidly approach the end of the game. So you want to play relatively fewer tiles. So I think Devo accomplishes scoring okay and not accelerating the end of the game. Whereas if you're Dave, whenever possible, and you have a sizey lead, you want to play more tiles as long as you keep it in balance is the primary school of thought. Kufi would be super ideal if you could get that down somewhere.
Probably don't want to play Kufi making yak and putting an I in the triple lane.
Not recommended.
Not the best idea.
Points-wise, it's great, but practically speaking, it gives a lot back. But he's still lining it up just to look at it and think about it. On a static sim, it's going to be high, but considering all the possible playbacks.
So a more reasonable play might be Fike. F-I-K-E in the top right above Aileron. That's 27 points and a somewhat playable leave.
So Fike has come down
and
on
he
top
does play
of
it. Okay.
Aileron.
Good play.
So that takes a Y, right?
Fikey with an EY, is that right?
I don't know how you spell Fikey. I'm thinking about it.
I think it's only F-I-K-Y.
No.
Fikey.
I have been given a challenge to pronounce all the variant spellings of pilaf very quickly. I'm going to politely pass, but that is an interesting challenge. Someone has pointed out uremia on Dave's rack now.
Yeah.
Well, it currently doesn't fit anywhere, right?
I'm having a look at the board, trying to see if it does. Yeah, I don't think so. Feud doesn't quite give enough spots to write. That's 6 tile spots. So
he can play uremia without the second A.
Yeah, the shorter uremia would play there. Yeah, would not recommend that play.
I would think that Geoff here wants to find a play that plays the P and the Y and score something reasonable. I see Pokey through the K, but maybe Pokey's fine. Stuff is still open after that. It does block the D from bingos for starting with the D, but bingos are more likely to end in the D. I'm not really sure where Geoff is thinking of playing the word he's arranged on his rack, Yorn.
Yorn plays making Nye and Fiad.
Yeah, that's a nice fit there. You could just play Yup in the same spot.
Or Yupon.
Yeah. Oh, Koruni, nice. Nice
Koruni.
money word. That is a money word.
That is a nice fight, but I'm not sure it's very thematic. I'm not sure that it's what he should be doing given the scoreline, because it's playing off a lot of tiles here, and the score is not significantly greater than Pokey.
Yeah, and
And
Uremia
also
has a
Dave's gonna
spot.
play Uremia.
Yeah, Uremia's got a
And-
great spot
and
now.
as it happens, this is going to be very unfortunate. I think Uremia is basically going to end the game, unfortunately for Geoff.
Yeah, this is a type of blowout we have all experienced at the hands of the Bing. The good doctor does this to all of us sometimes.
Yep. I've lost to him approximately 250 times in my life. So, yeah, I feel your pain, Geoff. I'm not even exaggerating. That's an actual number.
Have you actually tracked how many times you've lost to him?
Well, I mean, I'm just estimating. Like, I lived down the street from him for 3 years. We played once a week.
Yeah.
It's about 250, I'm going to say.
But at least most of the time you can do it over some solid beers,
In Portland, that was quite easy to do.
It dulls the pain. So go ahead, Jeremy. Sorry.
I don't think I've ever lost 250 times to the same player. But let me look this up to make sure I have the number right. In locally rated games, playing versus Hubert, Singapore's number 1. Hubert beat me the first 19 times we played in rated
God.
games.
That's painful.
Dang. I think Dave has done the excellent post bingo draw strategy to continue with the demolition.
My God, Dave, cut it out, man. Show some mercy.
Hey, this is where if you were allowed to resign, tilting the rack would be a consideration after that play.
Or just throwing the whole board across the room, yeah.
He's considering Favas, as was pointed out in the chat. I mean, that's pretty solid and straight up. Although we have a variation on our governing body all over the world.
That's right.
Vespa with the V. Vespa instead.
You could play Vespa.
That's like the reverse
World
wintering.
English Language Scrabble Players Association, yes.
The reverse winterization of words.
Yeah,
there we
Favas
go.
is just fine. Very nice play by Geoff for 38 points and a good leave. Maybe he's not dead yet. Draw a bingo for 100 in the bottom row, and you're back with him.
Mm-hmm.
Back
Except
with a little bit.
bottom
Except
row.
That's where Dave's going to bingo. Sad.
Yes, indeed.
So Enticer for 84, and the new score is going to be 422 to 209 in Dave's favor.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's pain. The question, is there a prize for low score? I don't know what the categorical prizes are like. Usually if there's a prize involving a low score, it's for a low win. I don't think there's usually encouragement of a prize for like a low score and a loss. We don't usually like to celebrate that.
Oh,
And in Calgary, for sure, when I started out my tournament Scrabble career, they definitely regularly gave out prizes for the low win, but no, certainly not the low loss.
Sidewinder points out that Dave bingos and then he draws GG.
Yeah.
GG, ow. Those are the
He's
things
also
that
got
Dave says and
Wig.
the things that Geoff says back to back.
The notorious WIGG, the wig. What did I miss in the chat further up? Yeah, discussion about Pui and Paya, if he turns to go with hooking Ya for Yap. Yeah, I think that was definitely valid to consider at the time.
Looks like Plectors is going to just barely not fit for Geoff. You hate to see it.
We hate to see it. As a flight attendant, maybe you could get some drink coupons for that. Oh, for the beers? Yeah, that would be okay. I mean, if you were on my flight, I could maybe forget to charge you. Forget is in air quotes that you can't see me doing right now. But that's about it. The beers in Portland, I sadly have to pay for. All right, so you know what? Something fair to talk about. We were talking about spread management before, and it was in a different context where it was aware that the game in general was lost. In this case, it's not only is the game lost, but you're doing damage control for how much spread you're going to lose. Geoff is at 2-0. He's probably got an okay spread. He's definitely going to take spread loss. You're trying to mitigate that at this point. So there is consideration when making choices for moves that you're no longer playing to win, and you might be playing to minimize spread loss. That's something to consider from here going forward.
Definitely. Oh, so we see Vanonoli in the chat points out, yup, you could just play the P for 8 points and set up a bingo for yourself.
That's solid.
There is one other S unseen, so you could get very badly punished, but maybe you want to take a chance here. That's interesting.
I wasn't going to say this out loud, but Dave has actually lined up a word I was thinking of on his rack. Are those like, you know how like there's the different names for the fans of different people? So like, like for singers, right? So like in this case,
Beehive for Beyonce, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So perhaps the Wiggets are all the people who like following Dave Wiegand.
I think they're the Bingalings, actually.
The Bingalings? Nice.
Well, yup is an interesting idea, but the problem is that it's a little bit too easy to block. You just, even if Dave doesn't have the S, he'll just play underneath the P. And I mean, he won't score anything, so like you kind of trade low scores, but it doesn't accomplish much usually.
Yeah.
Matthew Tunnicliffe points out, I once went to lunch with Dave after games and somehow lost 150 spread. Valid. Even when it's not an official game, we still lose spread to Dave. So it looks like Perk has gone down and Paya, leaving STL for Geoff.
Geoff keeping STL, which stands for St. Louis, where he just played 2 weeks ago.
And he's not doing super well with that draw there, unfortunately.
Huh?
Yeah, the 2 H's for huh. That could be a thing. In the meantime...
So what's the Wicket going to do?
If you're thinking like a Bing, you're thinking of how to limit options at this point, because you have a pretty comfortable lead. It's really, this is on his end also about controlling spread. So like we talked about Geoff trying to minimize spread loss, but there's also decisions that Dave could make that maximize his spread growing potential, which is very important in a bigger event like this, that you, when you have a chance, that you can build your spread so that you can take a lead on the field in any way possible. And that actually changes the way that you make some decisions. Because I think Dave is going to probably comfortably assume he's going to win this game, and some of the choices he's going to make are going to reflect his going for even more points. Hello, Jackie. Nice to see you here. Another person coming here from a different world. We hung out and played games on Discord throughout the pandemic, and she's coming to say hi and watch our stream. Welcome, Jackie, coming here from Seattle.
I've been there.
Yes, you know a thing about Seattle. Jackie, I have got a good friend of mine from Tournament Scrabble, Evans, here next to me in the commentary booth, and he is from Seattle.
All right, so 449, 233. Just painful right now for Geoff. What can he do here? He's got a whole bunch of consonants. This is rough.
Yeah, and we had the question roughly an hour ago about how you shake something like this off, and that actually kind of applies during a game like this as well. Because if you're Geoff, given the number of tiles you see, it's highly unlikely you're going to win. And at this point, you kind of think, okay. You're tempted to not focus anymore and make suboptimal plays and give up even more spread points. And that's a really hard thing to shake as well, as far as like, you want to give some effort. Like, I'm not going to spend all of my mental fortitude on this game when I've lost it, but I'm going to be trying to minimize my losses, because you want to shake this game off and get that spread right back, ideally in the rounds to follow. Much easier said than done.
Yeah.
Both of us speaking here from experience.
Yeah, I find that quite hard myself. I think one thing is that usually if you're trailing, you've been managing your rack, trying to get a bingo, and then it's hard to like get out of the frame of mind where you're like, oh, I'm trying to play a bingo. And it's also hard to know like when you've lost. This current situation is, Geoff should know. At least I think I would know in his position that I have lost. But sometimes you think you maybe have like a 1% or 0.5% chance of winning. And you might still want to go for it. It's hard for me to say, oh, I should like focus more on spread, because that will probably matter more.
Yeah. That's a valid point. Absolutely. Miss Reinica says, how many games are happening at once? That is an excellent question. That depends on whether we're talking about this one division specifically or the entire tournament. If it's this one division specifically, I believe it is it 19?
It is 19. So we got 39 players in Division 1 and 32 in Division 2. So there's 19 games in D1 and 16 happening in Division 2. And then there is a bye because we've got an odd number in the top division.
Indeed.
So what's that, 35 games in total? Yeah. It's a pretty big playing room, though. Nice spacious area for all 35 boards. As you can see behind Geoff, there's lots of tables.
I love Jeff's sense of humor here. He is just missing an A for Thanatos.
It's a very nice word if you had an A. But,
and then if you're thinking from the Marvel universe, he's got an extra T for Thanos. We don't know what his spread is, but I would wager at least half of his spread has gone with a snap of a finger in true Thanos style. The urge for self-destruction. Nice.
Well, I think I missed what Dave's rack was when he played Yachts. I'm not sure if we caught that.
He had GIGG and I think an N, I believe.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. I remember it being very consonant heavy. Sonic confirms, thank you.
Oh, 3 Gs.
Yeah, he had 3 Gs. So Geoff has then played O and O and Hom. Drew EU after yes. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. That will be updated in the Quackle file accordingly. So we are back on Dave's time. I think he's just staring at ungigged.
All right. So we got 497 to 279, and we got a tile pool of only 9 letters left, 2 in the bag.
What might ungigged mean? Is it a verb or an adjective?
I'd say an adjective. It's a musician who hasn't been signed up for anything.
I see.
Oh, nugged. We know Will Anderson loves his nugs.
Yeah, he's quite frequently nugged. He eats lots of chicken nuggets.
Ant eats. What an ant eater does. Or to use Conrad's parlance, it would be one who ant eats.
Yes.
Can the bag with remaining tiles be displayed on the screen, asks Baswa Rindam. Usually when we get down to roughly 14 tiles or so, the unseen tiles tend to be displayed on the top right corner. It's just a switch that gets turned on by our production team, so I imagine that will be coming up fairly shortly here.
But I can just yell it out. The letters are AABENSSTT. So AABENSSTT. There you go. So 2 in the bag, and those are the 9 tiles that are unseen to Dave right now. So we happen to know that the bag is what? A B and an S? Yeah, the bag is full of BS. So Dave plays gigged, which I don't think I've ever seen on a board before. All 3 Gs.
That would be an example of, I call it a literati play. Because for those of you who don't know, there was a game called Yahoo Literati when Yahoo used to dominate the internet before Google. That was the Yahoo variant of Scrabble. And there were very random tile distributions. It was not a fixed distribution every game. So you could hypothetically have like 5 Gs or 3 Qs or whatever. So I would call this a literati play because this is the kind of word that would only show up commonly in a random distribution like Yahoo had. I call that one of those literati plays. Or like, or cockeye, for example, COCCI, that came up all the time in literati because they had C-heavy random pools of letters, but on a real Scrabble board, you're not going to see that very often. Lewis says, I did get to play Gigit once. That was useful.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, once in a while, those really weird ones. They can bail you out in a really bad situation. I have played Glog before with
Oh, nice.
with the 3Gs.
With the 3Gs.
That was very helpful.
I don't think I've played a 3G word. So not a lot of great options here for Geoff. His best plays are only going to score like 22 or 24. He's got arenas through the R and perk in the bottom left. That is his highest scoring option at 24 points. Pretty sad. Ooh, and sets for style points. I like it. Not good for actual points, but good for style points. Geoff's down to his last 30 seconds here, so we're going to see something hit the board soon.
He's going for maximal overlappy kind of points. So Tat's going around from the T in yachts.
Okay. And then Dave only has one possible out.
And I think he's going to do it. He'll literally get to snub Geoff in this game.
Yeah.
With his last play and just with that whole game in general. That's a big old snub. And snub goes down. Dave's seeing it right away. So we'll just get a final score here. That is 527 for Dave Wiegand and 299 for Geoff Thevenot. To see him below 300, you know he was struggling big time because Geoff is very capable of scoring very highly. But it's kind of hard to recover from a tidal wave like that, you know, with all that was coming down from Dave's end of the board.